All right, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to Dudes Talking. Here with me this evening, I have Jack Allen from Conspiracy or Just a Coincidence, and Oddman from the Oddcast. How you guys doing this evening?
I'm doing wonderful, excited to be here, happy with two of my favorite people that I've met in this crazy, crazy world.
The same here, man. Thank you so much for inviting me, guys. It's always great to be on with both of you.
Yeah, as Jack has dubbed us the cat crew, so we are the cat crew. We're all cat daddies, and so
That's right.
it's good. It's good to be have cats. Everybody loves cats around here. Now you guys have probably heard me. I've been on Jack Allen's excellent show YouTube channel. I listen to Jack. He streams quite frequently. And Oddman, of course, I play Oddman replays. Actually, Jack, if you don't mind, I like to play some of your replays on my channel too as well. But I played some of Oddman's replays. So you probably have heard the Oddcast. You probably heard me there on the Oddcast too as well beforehand. You guys are two of my favorite broadcasters. You're out there fighting the good fight on Twitter, trying to I don't know, try to wake people up to the right-left paradigm, political paradigm being bullcrap, and spread the gospel too as well, which both of those are extremely difficult thing to do, as Christians will continue to be persecuted more and more into the end times, as well as anybody who wants to knock down idols, whether you want to tell somebody that Daddy Trump or Daddy Biden or as I Read Old Magazines called her, Coconut Mommy, Tulsi Gabbard. None of them are people, okay? They're not. So it's becoming a hostile place out there. Everybody wants an idol. Everybody wants a hero. Everybody wants this to come save them. No one wants to look to God. And that is the state of the world that we live in.
Absolutely, man. I couldn't agree more. I was thinking, earlier today that it's like in the last few years, and I know you guys will agree with me, but everything it's like the curtain has been lifted and it's all out there for everyone to see. Politics is a sham. They don't even write the bills. These guys are chosen, these leaders. I think the large corporations and banksters, they write the bills and it's just this global network that's really behind everything. And it's, different factions of it, but it's like, it's all out there. People choose not to see it because they just want to continue in the fantasy that we have this representative government, and it's just not true.
Dude, and that everyone wants a hero, that's like my new mantra, because that's all. It just switches who we choose at the time, but that's exactly. It's so much easier to say, okay, let this Batman billionaire save me than what can I do to make a positive change. And just like I think you said on my show, John, how being a Christian is hard. And that's why many people gravitate away to, I just want to be free and do what feels good. And that's, grown to our whole society. So it's easier to say, this guy will save us. Yeah, I'll defend him. I'm doing my part, as opposed to saying, maybe I should stop watching porn, or maybe I should stop whatever it may be. I'm just waiting for somebody. And that's like the problem we're in today.
No, very much so. Instead of trusting God and trying to do as the two commandments that Jesus Christ had given us, love God with all your heart and honor God and love thy neighbor as thyself. And that's just too difficult. People much rather love a lie and hate the truth, or much rather love themselves. And that's the world that we live in currently, sadly, and it's only going to continue to get worse, as I believe that we are likely probably living in the end times. I would very much hope to be proven wrong, and that we get to live a little bit longer on this planet until we go home to see God after we shed our mortal coil. But nonetheless, it does seem like things are definitely ramping up. So I guess a question to play off of that is who is your favorite Brave New World Order millionaire or billionaire? Like because you got the old world order millionaires and billionaires, right? You got Bill Gates, you got Jeff Bezos, you got George Soros. An old one to get out of the closet would be Ted Turner. Murray Strong is dead. So you got the old ones, okay, the old guard, okay. So the new guard would be people like Elon Musk or Peter Thiel or Mike Lindell or Patrick Byrne. So if you could guess, just to take a gander, what's a love and light, brave new world order billionaire or millionaire that you kind of have a soft spot for, because everybody's idolizing them today in today's world. We forget, Elon Musk is allying himself with the truckers, but we forgot that he wants to put our chip in our brain and override our self-will. So who do you sometimes you're like, man, you know what? I kind of like that guy.
I'm going to have to go with Mike Lindell, and please use my promo code Jack Allen for the best night's sleep you'll ever get. And, but dude, they're all so like, once you see they're like all just like a comical act, right? That's at least the way I view them. They're just like, they're entertaining, and it's just amazing to see how much power they have over people. So much power.
Okay, so Jack Allen's gonna go with Mike Lindell, which Mike Lindell, I really do believe I could be wrong. I think he's a true believer for the most part. I think he's just under the a grand delusion or the grand delusion, depending on we are living in the end times. But I think he's just I think he means well. I could be proven wrong. I mean, he did use promo code Q to save money off the pillows, and he is like funding a lot of this, brave new world type conferences and stuff like that, and Stop the Steal and everything. So maybe I could be 100% wrong, and Mike Lindell is a snake, as big a snake as they come. But I understand, Jack, that sometimes I find him to be maybe the most personable out of all the millionaires and billionaires. Maybe somebody you could go out with and get a burger and a soda together with, and you could talk you could have a good conversation with him. It'd probably be a little bit Trump heavy, but you could have a good conversation with him.
And then you'll get the best damn night's sleep of your life.
That is true. And you can get those nice Giza sheets too as well. Tuck you in good. All right, Oddman. It's your turn now.
Oh, man. Well, I hate to say it. It's kind of cliche at this point, but I guess I'll go with Elon because I just find the guy fascinating. He is like loved by liberals, loved by conservatives. I don't know how many liberals love him now, but up until the last few months, it seemed like they really liked him, and like when he tweets, you just see all these blue check marks replying to him immediately. And it's like, I may have mentioned this on the last show, but he just says this basic B kind of statement that, we've all thought and said many times probably in the past. And then people just flock to it, and he's got thousands and thousands of likes on it. And the guy is I feel like he's being put up as some kind of really big influencer. And I don't know. I mean, it seems to me like he's got spook related entity written all over him. I don't know, or something like that. He's definitely not who he says he is. He's like Jack said, he's definitely a character type of person.
Oh, very much so. Very much so. I'm actually going to have to agree. I hate just to say it, but I'm going to have to agree with Jack. Lindell, man, he has a soft spot for me. I don't know if it's, the story of him overcoming addiction to, being the manager, I should say manager, owner of the My Pillow company, kind of like that American dream type aspect and everything. And I don't know, man. Maybe it's weird because you look at these people, right? And you know that the more money they have, the more likely that they're in on it and they're completely evil and they're sold and bought out to Satan, right? So Elon Musk, for sure. I mean, I don't see how anybody can, I understand that people can, like you're saying, man, you see Elon and he's like the persona of Elon Musk, especially, the war that he has against the quote unquote old world order or the globalist liberalist establishment, you're kind of like, yeah, Elon, go get them, you know? But at the same time, you're like, wait a minute, you want to put a chip in my brain. You know, it's like, and so that's where a lot of people have disconnect about that, right? You have to remind them. You have to remind them, you know, like Elon wants to put a chip in your brain and override your free will and your body autonomy. You know, like, you know, Elon's tweeting, go truckers, you know, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, but yeah, go truckers, honk honk, you know. But at the same time, you're like, well, wait, you want to put a chip in my brain, you know?
He also tried to put I remember his commercial, self-driving trucks.
Yeah.
So go truck. Okay.
So is that why he's pushing the truckers? You know, is he? You know, I actually said that to some truckers that I knew. I was like, because you know, like you sure you want to back Elon and back the truckers? You know, the trucker protest up there in Canada. You don't think it's AstroTurfed in any shape or form? You know, and then they're like, no, you know, it's good. You know, I like Elon Musk. He's sticking it to the libs. You know, and I'm like, you know, he wants to replace you with a self-driving truck, right?
Dude. I mean, I talked to somebody about that too, and a couple people, and they were like, "You're crazy." But I said, "Man, come on! Google and Tesla and all these companies are working on these self-driving autonomous trucks, and they're not as far away as a lot of people might think. And it seems like this might be a great excuse to be like, well, you know, if things actually got bad with the supply chain, we can fix this by having these autonomous trucks."
Well, I think about Jack Dorsey, because everybody thinks that Jack Dorsey was kind of be like old world order. You know, back in the day, you had Mark Zuckerberg and you had Dorsey, so people thought that they were old world order. But in reality, they're not. They're brave new world order. I mean, Zuckerberg is tied to the hilt with Thiel, and Dorsey's coming out supporting cryptocurrency and has become a darling of the right as well. I mean, what's up with all that?
Unbelievable, man.
Well, I mean, I hate to jump, but like Oddman posted an awesome like short clip on Tesla. That guy, you know, his whole story is a sham. And I'm sure just like Zuckerberg's story, everyone they always drop out of college and they have a garage that they built the greatest thing in the world in. Like they can't create anything new. That's why they just recycle these stories about these people. But Elon Musk, I mean, his parents owned an emerald mine, which immediately brings me to thinking like Rothschild or you know, Cecil Rhodes. Like, you know, it's not just like some hardworking family who's like, oh, you know what? Let's buy an emerald mine. No, you have to have tons of wealth to buy. It's just all these guys, like I just said earlier, they're like storybook characters that for us to fall in love with or to hate.
Well, I mean, how many times do you guys see that in music industry or Hollywood, you know, where, you know, it was never a person just happens to get, I mean, occasionally, I guess, I was being a little bit pushing it too far there, but like it's very rare that it's just someone who's just discovered in a dusty coffee shop playing guitar, right? Or, you know, someone who's, you know, barely making it by in Hollywood as, you know, as an actor and happens to get discovered, right? Like most of the time it's like their family was either, you know, in the some sort of government position, some sort of military position, or they're wealthy, or they were some sort of entertainer themselves, you know.
Lots of connections there. Yeah, you're right, man. And, you know, with Elon, he's such a big, larger than life character. I call him Phony Stark, but it's like, you know, he kind of plays both sides, you know, and that's the thing that I think makes him even more powerful than some of these other guys. I think simply because of the tech aspect and the Tesla name, he's admired by both the right and the left, although he seems like he's moving to the right, and that's where the power vacuum is right now. So that's where these guys go, just like Trump. The power vacuum was in the right, and of course they're going to send somebody in there, I think, to control it, because it seems like that's what they've done forever, you know.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it wasn't like Trump wasn't. You know, you could have had Trump to the Brave New World Order billionaires too as well. You know, he could have made that category too. But I guess Trump discuss everybody that's on here now, so you really can't sit here and think, you know, that he's he's our guy when he's Moderna and Pfizer's best salesman ever. You know, it's just, so I got a clip for both of y'all, okay? Because you guys know today, supposedly everybody keeps telling me, whether it's the news media or on Twitter or I guess apparently InfoWars, that today is February the 22nd, 2022, which, by the way, when I was sitting in the line to pick up my daughter from school this afternoon and was waiting for Biden to reach the podium to give a speech about Russia, he happened to reach the podium and start talking at 2:22 p.m. So yes, the cultists, they do pick certain dates, times, and numbers to run their magic spells. I'm not going to say that doesn't happen. We know that to be true, but nonetheless, I don't pay much attention to gematria or anything like that because I think it could drive you very much crazy. Like that Jim Carrey movie, I think it was a number
7.
Was it 22?
Right? Oh yeah, 20. You're right. I'm not 7, but yeah, I remember that movie.
23.
23.
Maybe.
Yes. See, I'm
20,
so
yes. I think it was 23.
Number 23. Yes. I'm like,
Damn.
I have dyscalculia where I get numbers off by 1 sometimes. So like even like my kids' like birthdays or even my wife's, I'm like, you born the 15th or 16th, So I'm like, oh, so I got to sit here and think about it for a minute. But yeah, so it's the number 23. So, it's kind of like gematria is like that, in my opinion. So that's why I'm like, yeah, this is some sort of ancient mysticism, and I'm not going to give too much, look into it, stuff like that. But we do know that they do pick dates. So I got a special video for you. Go ahead, Oddman. Go ahead before I start it.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, yeah, see down at the bottom of the screen here, it says United States first Pluto return has just begun on the auspices of 222. Yeah.
So of course, I don't know if I'll be able to play it or not, but we get a My Pillow ad from InfoWars. Okay. So, yeah, of course,
nice.
Jack, who on Twitter pimps My Pillow every single chance they get?
One of actually my favorite right-wing influencers. He's never steered me wrong. Jack the Man Posobiec, who gave himself his own amazing nickname, Poso. So he's a great guy. Use his code if you're buying a pillow.
He is the best. I mean, truly one of the best. I mean, no one glows so hard that you could see them from space than Jack Posobiec. Okay, so and that's a joke. Okay, that's a joke. All right, but or is it a joke? So let's see if I want to see if I can restart this video, if it'll play the ad for My Pillow, just because we have to hear Alex Jones shilling My Pillow.
I know, that was amazing.
We have to. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Lindell is offering 60% off on his top-of-the-line Giza Dream Sheets right now, exclusively at mypillow.com/Alex. Follow that link right there. Get 60% off on these amazing sheets and fund the InfoWar.
That's right. Sleep like you're in Egypt.
Get your sheets right now at the link right there below.
Damn, Alex was great there.
Yeah, it was. I probably want to sleep like I'm in Egypt.
However you may feel about astrology, it was the original science from which all other sciences were born out of. And although today's pop culture paints it as pseudoscience, occult traditions see it as sacred knowledge. While it is a great mystery, it is as predictable as mathematics and experiential for everyone. And today, astrologically speaking, is a very interesting day for America and individual freedom worldwide. Today is 2/22/2022, the first time Pluto is conjunct to the United States since July 4th, 1776.
I need a fact check on that. I need a fact check. Someone give me a fact check on that. Okay, so just starting, we're only about a minute in. What's some initial thoughts going on? Okay, what's some initial thoughts?
Oddman, you want to start? Oh, you're on mute.
Oddman, you're muted.
So sorry. I was trying to be professional. Look at me. Well, I was going to say about the Mike Lindell thing. I'm surprised it didn't come with a free serving of gefilte fish that could be like mailed to you or something. But the whole thing with astrology, I mean, it was a process that took many, several hundred years to be put together by different, different cultures, and the planets don't even line up like they used to. And it's, there's a lot of things to go into that. But I know I'm going to make a lot of people mad because there's so many people that love astrology, but I call BS on it.
Yep, me too.
Just do.
Well, John, Oddman and I both tried to read this book, and I couldn't finish it. Man, do
you
you
couldn't
remember
finish a book, Jack? Really? Really?
Dude, what was it? It's David Ovelston or something like that.
Oh, the one about the electric universe.
It's about like DC and astrology, and
yeah.
But I didn't realize, John, like how much these are like founding fathers put this much, like everything they did from the stone when they laid it, what time they put it, like the material they make a statue out of, all this stuff went into the stars. So clearly,
now, Jack, they were good Christian men, okay? They were good deist, Masonic, Gnostic Christian men, okay? And don't you forget it.
But yeah, dude. So I mean, that's all I know is they take it very seriously. I can't understand it. I have no idea. But some people, they like these top people, they put a lot of stock into this. Yeah,
they do. I mean, I think it's BS overall. I mean, ultimately, all of us being Christians here, we know it's all guided by God and God's will. It's not guided by the planets aligning and stuff like that and everything. Not that, that there might not be some sort of, at least in their own belief, occultic power in it, if it's only just their own belief in it. But it's just interesting that, I mean, InfoWars has really decloaked itself. Like, no one can say Alex Jones is a Christian anymore. I mean, I've played parts of Reset Wars. I paid the money for Reset Wars. It's as Gnostic as they come. As a former Gnostic, I can tell you. Like, just straight up, it's Gnostic. It's Gnostic New Age. It's bad. It's really bad. And so, I mean, literally, like, you would think that Alex Jones would be against, who's the preacher out of Texas? I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on him now.
Not Kenneth Cole.
Not Kenneth Copeland. It's the
Copeland. That was his name.
He's very much up with the United Nations, and like all the conservative people can't stand him. I mean, he's definitely not a Christian. He's a New Ager.
Joel Osteen.
No, not Osteen.
Damn it! I'm done guessing.
I can't believe he's got a book. It's like a kind of like a power of positive thinking type book. People in chat, help me out. Someone help me out.
Not Billy Graham.
No, it's not Billy Graham. He's still alive today. He's pretty The Purpose Driven Life, Rick Warren. So you would think Alex Jones would be like, I want to have nothing to do with Rick Warren, right? And Saddleback Church and everything. Like, you would think he would be like, I want to have nothing to do with Rick Warren, because Rick Warren is definitely tied with the UN. You can literally, it takes like, I mean, it's pretty easy to find. It's not like it's buried anywhere. All right. But no, in Reset Wars, he's got a whole thing about the purpose-driven life and the whole about of how he lives by that and how he lives by the teachings of Rick Warren and how much he loves Rick Warren. And then he literally, like, there's an infamous quote, not famous, infamous, of the New Age, New Apostolic Reformation heretic Paula White. Okay, there's a quote out there attributed to her, and I can't find where this quote came from, where she says, if anybody tells you to deny thyself, they're from Satan, okay? Well, Alex Jones literally says in the Reset Wars, I think it was the episode about the purpose-driven life, that if anybody tells you to deny themselves, that they're from the devil. And I'm like, well, Jesus Christ tells you to deny yourself and pick up your cross daily. I mean, that's one of the big tenets of Christianity is denying the flesh. It's like, what is going on here? I mean, come on. So this is just more, just more New Age nonsense that's coming out of InfoWars.
Yeah, that's just like, the Crowley kind of mottos, do what thou will. I mean, I watched a video, and this was several years old, just a couple weeks ago, and it was Alex interviewing Sean Stone, and they got into some occult beliefs a little bit, and I think Sean Stone's pretty open, I think, about being like a kind of a New Age. I think he even admitted he was a Freemason, but anyway, Alex is agreeing with everything he says, and he's supposed to be a Christian, but that it's like you said, the veil has been lifted. He's just another New Ager.
Mm-hmm. And thank you to Robbie. He's not Texas Church. Rick Warren's Saddleback Church is in California. I have no idea why I thought it was in Texas. So I was mistaken about that. But yeah, it's getting like there's no longer that Alex Jones could say he's a Christian anymore. Like if you're a Christian and you look at the way Alex Jones speaks and talks, there's no separating him between him and a New Ager. There's not. So it's getting bad. I mean, obviously he's yoking himself with the CMPers. Not like he didn't in the past, but now it's like almost every single person he has on is a member of the CMP or directly around the CMP nexus, So it's like Alex Jones isn't fooling anyone. I mean, look at all that we do a better job, going through the news and trying to pick it apart. I mean, when you go listen to, go to band.video or listen to Alex Jones anymore, I mean, this is standard stuff. It's only one side of the, the eagle. It's only one side of the, it's leftist, globalist bad, Trumpist, populist good.
The Chi-Coms.
Yeah, the Chi-Coms are. Don't look at Israel. They've never done anything wrong in the history of their existence. Even though there are clips of Alex Jones criticizing Israel, though, but they're few and far between. But remember when Alex Jones was in the airport and had the audacity to say that the Chi-Coms were behind Epstein?
I didn't see that, dude. I saw that. I think the Daily Beast did that article about how AJ was pulling in. I think it was like 175 million in the past 4 years or something like that.
Some crazy number.
It was insane, dude. And I was trying to do and it was like something like $70,000 a day of selling. And that is so many boner pills. I don't think that can be right because there's gotta be how many pill bottles is that? That is insane amount. And it can't be getting it from Mike Lindell pillow ads. Dude.
No. There's some money bombs going on for sure.
Yes.
Do you got anything to add, Oddman, before I start the clip back up?
I was just going to say, I wonder if, I know back in the day, InfoWars had a subscription model. I wonder if that's still in place because I haven't seen, their apps aren't on any of the popular things like Roku or anything like that anymore.
Well, Reset Wars was a one-time fee for $250 for literally 4 or 5 hours of Alex Jones just giving New Age mantra talking points and really not talking about anything new.
Wow.
So
was that like a stream or like a one day
it's a video series. No, you have access to it to the rest of we were supposed to get invited because I was one of the first adopters before they raised the price because it was like $250 somewhere around there, $230, $250 to $300. And so we were supposed to get email to have like a special talk as a group with Alex. So I did it because I was like, oh,
wow,
I'm going to record this and I'm going to put it on. We read the documents and I'm going to tell, Alex Jones he's CMP to the face, right? Well, either I didn't get that email or it just never happened. So,
the Chi-Coms.
So that's interesting. So, all right, let's continue.
148-year event known as Pluto's return. Every time a planet returns to the same degree it was in relation to your location of birth, you experience a return. Many of us can personally understand the idea of Saturn's return. It takes Saturn about 29 years to orbit the sun, and so it happens roughly around your 29th birthday. Because Saturn symbolizes severity and discipline, this time is known as an era of learning through harsh reality for those who haven't already mastered self-discipline. Pluto symbolizes destruction and rebirth, and so Pluto's return, which lasts about 2 years, is considered to be a time of destruction and rebirth. During the Roman Empire's first Pluto's return, the Severan dynasty collapsed, a time known as the crisis of the 3rd century. And their second Pluto return took place 10 years before the end of the Roman Empire. And now America's first Pluto's return on 2/22/2022. 2 times 2 times 2 times 222 equals 1776.
Is Alex Jones just like obsessed about 1776? Like, is he sleeping? Is he sleeping next to the prostitute Jewish wife that he has? Rebecca Wolf. Is he just sleeping next to her? As he left, Kelly Jones. And he's just like, oh, 1776. Welcome and like, is he like obsessed with 1776? Like.
Dude, he's probably he loves it. He like that is his, and that leads people down like the wrong. I think like America was started by how you said like deist, and did they really have our best interest at heart? I don't think so. But he starts that right away. Like our government would be perfect if we just got the right people in. That it's he makes it this simple. When I think it's much greater problem than getting the right people in.
I mean, how could anybody think that, again, watching this video, and this is Greg Reese, we could watch the whole Owen Schroyer InfoWars part of the War Room of breaking that down, but I'm not going to subject anybody to more of this 4-minute clip, okay? But anybody watching this, anybody who's a Christian, okay, how can you sit here and be like, yeah, let's learn about some astrology and some gematria. That's real good, that's real good Christian values, it's in the Bible. I mean, does anybody? Am I missing? I mean, how can anybody sit here as a Christian and just overlook this and be like, InfoWars really is the place where Christians should get their news? I mean, it's completely out in the open at this point. It's decloaked.
Another thing that drives me kind of crazy about just the whole astrology and signs and everything in general is like people use it as an excuse, like we don't have free will, well, it's just a time where there's going to be this great change and this revolution because of because of astrology, because it's all connected to numbers and the planets and this, that, and the other. But like, I think that people are really into it. It's like they blame everything on that, or they praise everything on astrology. And it's like we don't have free will. Like the people in these governments don't have free will. It's like, no, a lot of these things are happening because people, are being evil and they are being selfish and they're being greedy and they've pushed things to the point to make things happen.
Or ultimately the world's not in God's control. It's up to some, planetary alignment and some numbers. It's right. It's ridiculous. I mean, I was holding up Happy Birthday Planet Earth by Barbara Marx Hubbard. And I mean, there's no difference between the New Age in this video and the New Age that she talks about, even though, everybody, she's an elitist and she's brave New World Order and, she's dead now. But, she said if we don't ascend, which they were going to cull 1/4 of the world population. And they were going to be the pale horse rider, and that that us that don't ascend, we're like a tumor being excised. We're like a metastasis being cut out. That's the elite's duty. So this woman who smiles like grandma, it's like grandma wants to kill you, put some poison in the cookie she just baked you. There's no difference between what they're saying here than what she believed. They're talking, about, I mean, I'm going to finish it up, but they're gonna mention Great Awakening. They're going to mention, revolution. I mean, please, I always ask people this question, but no one's ever been able really to answer me. But when's the last time a revolution has ever worked in the favor of the people? I mean, didn't we used to know that all revolutions are banksters' revolutions? And even if they're not, aren't they eventually astroturf or controlled? I mean, at what point do we really think that a revolution is going to ever work in our favor? I mean, the American Revolution, it was controlled. The French Revolution was more controlled, or at least more bloody. And then you have the Bolshevik Revolution, which was even more bloodier. I don't see why anybody thinks our side's going to get it right this time, you guys. We have people like Elon Musk and Peter Thiel running it. It's like, what's going on? Am I missing something? It's ridiculous.
Dude, that bullshit, like that's, I mean, you're way years ahead of me in reading and knowledge, but that was one of the most mind-blowing things was first finding out that the Bolshevik Revolution, is being funded by Wall Street. At the meantime, they're creating back home a Liberty Foundation or Liberty Union for the
America
far right
First.
side.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same. And dude, it's like the same move over and over again. But we were so, uneducated or misinformed that we never make this connection. Like, damn, this is like the exact same playbook they've used every time.
Yeah, man, I've been kind of looking into the French Revolution a little bit because I never really studied much about it. And, it was just kind of pushed by a lot of these secret societies, the Freemasons, the Illuminati, the Jacobins, and all that stuff. But I mean, maybe their government was being overbearing to a degree, but there's also a lot of history or a lot of information to say that most of the people were actually happy. And it was just these secret societies that were kind of pushing this rebellion. And it turned into something pretty horrible and very just animalistic. And you guys are right. I mean, these things never really turn out good for the people, the everyday people. And if it does, it's only for a very short time before it's infiltrated and taken over and begins the whole process all over again, And if you look at how easily the masses are fooled, I mean, it's like we're almost at a point right now where the Democrats and the Republicans have switched places from 20 years ago. There's just a few issues that they do have still, abortions like one, and there's a couple others. But I mean, we're really, people can be fooled by just a little bit of propaganda and a divisive leader, and their basic principles, which were never principles at all, can be changed. And so how could any revolution really stand a chance to be something good for the people if we're that easily tricked?
No, you're right. I mean, that's why it's like the whole, freedom convoy up there in Canada. It's like, yeah, we know Trudeau is a totalitarian, and we know that the government of Canada is a totalitarian government. But there's no difference of when CNP Stephen Harper was in Canada compared to CFR Justin Trudeau. It's like it's always been totalitarian. But now, and you could say it's a different, more severe totalitarianism between Harper and Trudeau because of what's going on in the world with the pandemic. And I understand that, but it's still, it's a push-pull type thing. And people forget about the Hegelian dialectic of, problem, reaction, solution. So, yeah, Trudeau's doing all these horrific things. And I guess it's easier for me to say it in the South of the United States of America, where the boot is not on my neck as bad as it was for my brothers and sisters in Australia and Canada. And I understand that. But you're playing into this, you're going exactly where they want you to. Where it's not that I want things to get worse in Canada, or I don't want people to, have a reprieve or things to get better there, or for totalitarianism to lessen or stop. I do. But the answer isn't a phony controlled freedom convoy. Now, I'm not saying that everybody that was involved in the freedom convoy obviously was an operative or an agent or a plant. No, there were many well-meaning people, a lot of them born-again Christians, that were funneled, into the trucker convoy, And so, but ultimately, those are the ones, like with any revolution, those are the ones that get left hanged out to dry as the revolution goes on, and the elite, they're perfectly fine. People like Rebel Media's Ezra Levant, for example. Ezra Levant is a major grifter. Everybody knows that, or do they? But he's the hero of the trucker convoy, And so no longer, he tweets out, I no longer back the blue for everything that happened in Ottawa. And it's like, well, okay, I noticed that, and I was like, well, that's going to be a talking point, right? Well, sure enough, Steven Crowder comes out with a video today that he no longer backs the blue either. And I'm like, okay, so it's just, it's the left wing, right wing, blue team, red team, which team are you on? where when, the Black Lives Matter protests were going, and yes, I understand that there was more property damage, it was less civil, it was more problematic. I understand that, okay? But, most, Trump people, most right-wing people were like, yeah, go get them, to the police, do something, beat them. And there were many people who were progressives, though I don't agree with their cause with Black Lives Matter as far as, what's being propped up by Soros, among others. Like, I don't necessarily, though I'm more sympathetic to the trucker convoy as far as getting freedom under Trudeau, I'm also not for them either, But with Black Lives Matter, there were people who were progressives who really just want to fight for what they think is right. And they were like dragged away by secret police and infinitely detained, just like the January 6 people and just like the Freedom Convoy stuff in Canada. Okay, but none of the right were really speaking out against that. They were just like, yeah, that's right, get them, I don't like them. So the same thing's happening in the trucker convoy with the left, where people are screaming. They don't care. They don't care that people are being, detained and gone, disappeared, just like January 6th. They don't care that their rights are just being trampled upon. And they're like, get them. They're insurrectionists. They're trying to take over the government, And so you have this rah-rah, go team mentality only for a person's team, where in reality, if you think that it's all corrupt, then you would be like, well, I don't care if it's Black Lives Matter taking down the government or if it's the trucker convoy taking down the government. They're taking down the government, But no one has that really, I've even talked to an anarchist that sees it that way. They either have rah-rah go team for their each teams, So I mean, does it ever end? Am I making any sense with anything I'm saying, or am I just rambling?
Oh no, dude, that's it's like exhausting. It's as long as my team's winning. And it boils down to that. And it's almost like pathetic that humans cannot, or, the general public cannot rise above this stupid, it's like everything comes down to like this football game mentality. Like, well, all right, they didn't get, I'm going to do this penalty. And I am trying to make a metaphor with a flag and a penalty and it's burning up, but it's just exhausting that people cannot see past like the same things the same tyrannical moves you're cheering on. They're going to be flipped against you whenever they so feel like it. But people just can't grasp that little thing. Like they can't see it, dude. They're blinded.
I kind of think that people don't realize how little power they actually have, and they still think that they have, especially here. I think actually, to be honest, I think it's starting to hit people, because I see a lot of people that used to speak out on, at least on social media, that don't say anything anymore. But I think, that people don't realize how powerful these governments and their related corporatist factions are, and I think they can take things by force. And yes, maybe if you're burning down Lord Rothschild's home and he's in there, you might, you know what I mean? You might be able to get something done there, like get killed, but you might put some fear into them like that. But I think, honestly, for the most part, the only fight there is to be had now is an information war, and people actually gaining knowledge about history and knowing how how everything works. That way they know how to really fight it. And I think that with like physical force, I just don't think you're going to get, I think it's going to backfire, because they have the means to take down anyone with, the military and the police and different things like that. So if things got worse or really bad, those people will be taken down, taken out. And then they'll get the narrative, these governments, that they want. Look at these awful, these violent people. They've got to be taken down. They're terrorists. And there's no winning that. That's even worse. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, so you had right-wing media, saying Black Lives Matter were terrorists, where you had the mainstream media, defend them, okay? And so with the trucker convoy, it's vice versa, right? So you have the alternative media defending them, and the CMP-controlled media defending them, and you had the mainstream media, calling them terrorists and racists and stuff like that and everything. So you just have this back and forth between each other, to try to demonize whomever they want to demonize. And so I'm sitting here and I'm just like, I don't want to be. I don't. Can I be separate from this? Can I be away from this? Can I separate myself from all these people and everything that they're doing, because like it's not going to end well, it really isn't. So I mean,
I think it's like this. I always rag on boomers, and I love my parents are boomers, and I don't mean to rag on boomers all the time, but they grew up, and that's people that are, a lot of them are at the protest. They grew up on these hippie sit-ins and all this stuff. And maybe some of them were too young for that, but they were raised like, oh, protest this will make a change. And so they think that that's still the case, where it's not the case. And I'm not saying this to be like a defeatist and say you shouldn't do anything, but a protest, it is going to hurt you more than it's going to help you. It's going to hurt your cause way more than it's going to help your cause. And I understand the need that you want to do what's right. You want to make a positive change. I get that. But it is 2022. Like, protest, dude, you're going to get smacked, just like they did January 6th, just like they did with these guys. And I don't have a solid answer.
The thing is, they're astroturfed at this point, Jack. That's the problem.
That's true as well. Dude.
I mean, like, I understood if you're like protesting, like your local like government.
Good point.
Because you'll likely make a difference. But if you're going to these AstroTurf, trucker convoy, the trucker convoy that's happening at DC, January 6th, that stuff, you got to be like, whoa, that's something you probably don't want to be a part of, because that's probably different, and probably you're going to end up getting in trouble whether you did something illegal or not. And so that's kind of the difference, I would assume, is that guess way of looking at it. Not to say it's perfect. You could go to something local if your city's big enough and it still be AstroTurf, and you still get smacked down. But I mean,
absolutely.
One of the most common things they ever say is well, there's more of us than there are the elite, which is it's a true statement. But they again have I have this back and forth, discussion. Most of the conspiracy culture says they have technology that we've never seen before. So do we think that they're just going to let us overrun them? I mean, it's kind of like a Hollywood. I mean, even us as Christians, we know that's not what's going to happen. It's like you're always fighting with the flesh. Because the flesh is like, we got to rebel, we got to do something, and what we're called to do as Christians is to spread the gospel and, and to help our fellow man around us and be an example of Christ, and expose evil too as well. But it's not the exposing evil the way that they want you to do, which is get out there and with your bullhorn like Alex Jones and your in a tank and your Eric Prince Blackwater, CMP Eric Prince Blackwater armored personnel carrier, and get out there and fight the power. It's just ridiculous. So,
man, it almost feels like to me that they've got Templar Trudeau out there as the kind of poster boy for these evil dictators, and he's like sucking all the attention up. And I know he's a bad dude, don't get me wrong, and the things he's doing it's horrible, but I feel like he's like been picked to be the one to get all the attention while all kinds of stuff is going on around the world. And I feel like they're just pushing, like I almost feel like he's being so over the top that he's pushing these people to do what they're doing. And you know what I mean? The power of, I don't know if that would be reverse psychology, I guess, or a form of it. And, the power of suggestion is very strong. And, they can kind of direct people with, if they come out and do things that the people don't like, they can make them angry. And then the people that are supporting the government will be fighting the people that are angry. It's a big mess, but I think people need to really think about mass psychology and reverse psychology and those type of things and what they're being pushed to think and feel. It's what I always say is like maybe take take a deep breath, stand back away from the situation if at all possible, and kind of think about, do they want me to do this? Is this what they're pushing me to do? The exact thing. Am I doing exactly what they want me to do? Basically, walking into the trap.
No, you're right. It makes it. I mean, you have to hold multiple positions in your head, and I'm not saying that. And I know you guys aren't either. We don't have all the answers. We don't. I can only tell you what I'm thinking in my head and what I believe is right, that matches up with what I know biblically. And it's not that you don't stand against evil. It's just you shouldn't stand in the way that they're going to make you stand against evil. That's the problem. And so a lot of people are falling for that. I mean, look, the trucker convoy to D.C. with Flynn and all them pushing it, it stinks to high heaven. All right, like it's. I mean, look, Ezra Levant ran mostly the trucker convoy, among other people. But was Ezra Levant arrested? Were there other people arrested for the trucker convoy?
That's a good point.
So yeah, all right. So let's finish this real quick. This nonsense. We got about maybe a minute or two. We can also listen to the chants. That really helps out with the New Age pushing of Pluto's return and the rebirth of individual freedom.
It begins on a Tuesday, and it lasts 2 years. Perhaps you dismiss.
Da-da-da. It lasts to 2024, you guys. What happens in 2024? We have a presidential election.
Oh, I didn't even make that connection. That is a good connection.
All this as pseudoscience woo-woo. But it is important to know that the occultists who sway the governments of the world.
So they show the dark secrets inside Bohemian Grove in Alex Jones' film. Alex Jones just happened to get into Bohemian Grove. Wink, wink,
no,
nudge,
dude,
nudge,
he
say
was
no more.
James Bond super spy. He donned a wig. No one suspected a thing. He broke into the most secretive ceremony in the world, undetected.
Yeah, with John Ronson sneaking on the canoe.
Do not. They take this sort of thing very seriously, which could explain why they all seem to be in such a frantic hurry. More than America, July 4th, 1776 symbolizes individual freedom. And so, astrologically speaking, the next 2 years will mark either the destruction or rebirth of these individual freedoms that were born in 1776.
Thoughts, you guys?
Oddman, this is all you.
What year was the Constitution ratified? I can't remember. That wasn't 1776, was it?
So. Let me see.
I was just thinking about the anti-federalists.
1788. You're right. I was going to say 1789 for some reason. 1788.
I was just thinking about the anti-federalists and how a lot of the things that they were worried about came true. So, yeah, it seems like it was a time of individual freedom, but then, they put the Constitution in a few years later, and it was really a move, I think the first move, of course, to destroy states' rights, and they've been under assault ever since. So, you can only have so much freedom with the national government. It's just almost impossible.
Because we're free in Christ, free to captives, but there's a difference between liberty and freedom.
That's right.
I like that.
So,
is that in the Bible?
No, but I mean,
okay.
Jesus did come to free the captives. That is in the Bible, yes. But
okay.
But to me, it seems like the way that they frame liberty and freedom is that you have kind of Luciferian aspect of liberty or libertas, the Statue of Liberty, So it's kind of seems to be liberty is man liberating himself, and freedom is God saving us, Jesus saving us.
Oh, I like that. That's nice.
So it's kind of different. Actually, I would say it's probably the true way of looking at it. But okay, so one thing I do want to bring up, since they kind of made he kind of gave it away a little bit. Greg Reese gave it away a little bit there. Is Barbara Marx Hubbard? She talked about the founding fathers in her Democratic National Convention speech. in 1984, where she was almost made vice president instead of Geraldine Ferraro. And so she says, in 1776, a handful of genius came together to take the first step. It will not be a handful, but a land full of genius. We will gather in every town, in every village, in every city, in new town meetings of the future. We will state the word of truth from the place of power in the American presidency. When the word of our potentials goes forth from the American presidency, the word shall be made flesh. In 1776, they aligned to do it, they committed to it, and they co-created it. So must we, and so it shall be.
Dude, I mean, people probably jumped out of their seats for that quote, for that.
That is one of the most
statement.
blasphemic things, but most true statements that I have ever heard. And that it's true that is the way that the Masonic occultish founding fathers, and not all of them were, I don't think. I think Patrick Henry may have been a born again Christian. And it's not that this country in of itself didn't have people that were Christians. This country wasn't founded by Christians as the populace as a whole. It was. But the government in of itself, the representation of the American Revolution and what came out of that with the founding fathers is anything but Christian. And so for the most part. So Barbara Marx Hubbard gives it away here. Now, she went in more detail than what Greg Reese said, but if you actually listen to Greg Reese, he kind of said the same thing she said. She just went in much greater detail and tried to use biblical terms. Like, she literally is talking about in the flesh, the word, that's Jesus, that's logos, but she's using it in a complete blasphemic, Gnostic, New Age way.
Interesting.
So,
dude,
and remember, Mo Brooks said that Trump's second coming is happening. Okay, he literally used that phrase. He said it was a second coming of Donald Trump. So, in 2024, are we going to get the head, who I believe is the head of the Brave New World Order, who possibly may be a Antichrist? I don't know if he necessarily meets the qualification for the Antichrist, but maybe, which is Donald Trump. So, will Donald John Trump, he was taken out, he was hit. Will he, as they keep calling him, the Phoenix, the resurrection, the return, the second coming of Donald John Trump, will he be an Antichrist or the Antichrist figure? And will he fulfill the Brave New World Order in 2024?
Yes. Dude, it's crazy. It's scary. Like, I don't know how you break the populace from not, like, the people that still support. It's just so it's like all infuriating. It's disheartening. It breaks like my heart to see what the state of our country is in, and how we just, again, kind of like going full circle, putting all of our hope in these fallible men that are controlled 99 times out of 100. It's, I don't even know what other word to use to describe it.
Are you guys ready for Hillary versus Trump?
I remember, dude, I people were getting, when you said that on my show, I had some people agree. What are you going to say now, though, that Hillary, she's caught, dude. She was spying. She planted the evidence.
She arrested and executed. She on her way to Guantanamo Bay.
Well, no, she's arrested. Yeah.
Okay, because
she was executed a while ago.
Because Blue Anon, or McChrystal's QAnon, or left QAnon, or whatever you want to call it. Blue Anon's kind of Jack Posobiec's term to kind of throw shade on it, like it doesn't exist. Okay, but they claim that Donald Trump's already arrested. And he's going to go to Guantanamo Bay any minute. Okay.
No way, really?
Yeah, they do. Yes. And so right QAnon is pushing that Hillary Clinton has been gone to Guantanamo Bay or executed or blah, 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 So neither one of them been executed. No one cares that neither one of them have committed high crimes of treason. Neither one of them are going to jail anytime soon, if they ever go at all. I seriously doubt it. And I do believe it is going to be Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton in 2024. I thought it was going to happen in 2020, but it didn't. They had to put Biden in. And I understand now it's to get things worse. Things weren't. You couldn't have Trump become the God, Emperor, Savior figure. And the second, he had to bring us from the brink of destruction. Okay, for him to fulfill that. Okay, because that's how sick these people are. All right. So I mean, it's probably going to be Trump versus Hillary. And I don't know who's going to be the vice presidents. If they said, John, if I was evil and they were like, you're the one planning this, I would make it Donald Trump and Michael Flynn versus Hillary Clinton and Stanley McChrystal. Okay. And then now here's the kicker, and I want to get you guys' opinion on it, because I did say this on your show, but I want to talk about it for my audience real quick. I believe if Trump wins, we truly might be entering into the end times. Like, truly, like, it's time to get right with the Lord. You should get right with the Lord anyway, because, tomorrow's not promised today, okay? But it might be it, all right? If Hillary wins, I don't think it is. I don't think we're entering the book of Revelation, or the prophecy foretold. I think at that point, it would probably be delayed for many years. I don't know how many years, because I'm not claiming that it's going to be tomorrow or next week or next year. Even if Trump wins, it could be delayed for years after that anyway. But I would say that there would be so much outrage from a Hillary Clinton victory that it would fracture the country to the Second American Civil War. I don't think that would happen if Trump won. I think there will be some sort of, by the time Trump wins, there'll be so much corruption from the old world order that'll be seen that it will usher in the new world order, and people will accept Trump and will bow to him. People that you never thought would previously beforehand. So what do you guys think? Am I lying? Am I crazy? Am I crazy? Am I crazy, Oddman? Am I crazy?
No, man. I think that you very well could be right. It could be one of those two scenarios. But, I've thought about that quite a bit, and I almost think it would be worse for people like us if Trump was the one to win, because there was such a cult of personality there that people who we formerly probably agreed on most things with became so unreasonable that they overlooked overlooked anything bad that he did. I mean, he could do no wrong. And he even said that, and I remember he was at a live speech and he said, I could shoot somebody and they would, forgive me or whatever he said.
Shoot somebody in one of the streets in, was it Washington, D.C. or New York City? I think did he say Times Square? He could shoot someone in Times Square. I think it's what he said.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. And it's really scary, because, both sides are brainwashed, and both sides are going to pick whichever, candidate that they're given, and they're going to go in totally
it's Fifth Avenue, not
all
Times
the
Square.
way.
But yes, it was somewhere in New York City. But yeah, it's crazy though, isn't it, Oddman?
Yeah, people just, I like to use the term. I'll hurry this up quickly, but I like to use the story where I was arguing with this guy online, and I shouldn't have been, but and I was talking about, I was like, well, Trump, look what he did with the Second Amendment. And I said he was worse than Obama. I was trying to talk some sense into the guy. I was like, he stood right there by Dianne Feinstein and said, take the guns first, worry about due process later. And she was just like, ha, and she was smiling and laughing. And the dude was just calling me every name in the book, including a communist. And I'm like, a communist? I'm trying to tell you, he's taking your rights away, and you're... so you couldn't talk to a lot of people at all. It was just totally over their heads. So that's a scary thing, because at least with, I think, Hillary, I can't see her getting away with what Biden's getting away with right now, because, like her or not, I can't talk, like her or not, she's an intelligent person and very well spoken, and she thinks very meticulously.
Yeah.
And, I just don't think she could get away with some of these things.
I really don't think this. I really don't think she's going to win. I do think we're entering into the end times. Jack, what's your thoughts, brother?
I think that's total possibility, but I want just to what Oddman was saying about Trump could do no wrong. You also get people that they'll give you a few wins. They'll say, well, I don't love everything he does, to try and make them seem like impartial. Mm-hmm. I don't like his tweets, and he was a little pompous, but goddamn it, he kept gas prices low, or whatever they say. But I always, because I have a boss who's a big Trump guy, and so I always enjoy that's what he always will lead with. Like, I don't love everything he does, trying to set up like, see, I'm not obsessed with Donald Trump. No, I can see he's got a little bit wrong, but the wrongs they mention are not his policy decisions, not things that he, like Oddman talk about taking the guns. It's little stuff that is insignificant in the
Dude,
the
have you
grand
ever heard?
scheme of
Have you ever heard a
things.
Biden supporter say, "Well, I don't like everything he does"? I don't think most of them. I think they really do like most of what Biden does, right? Like, or am I wrong?
Dude, and I do it just for amusement, but like Jim Jordan post or a Matt Gaetz post, and those top comments, dude, are always the left side, but it's insanity, dude. They can't be real people. Like it's like exactly like the Trump syndrome, like him holding a baby and saying like, I love this man, I love this president, or the greatest president ever. I agree with, like, I refuse to believe these are real people, because the adoration is and idolization is off the charts. Like, it's mental illness level.
Yeah. It could be bots. A lot of it could be bots. Not gonna say all of it is, but a lot of it could be bots and artificial intelligence. I mean, how much of the internet is truly real at this point?
That's like the right, because we have no idea. That it would be so easy to have these, even if it's not even just like people running multiple accounts, AI, like you said, that could easily come up with, they just tweet some boomer meme. It could, we have no idea how many active actual people are on Twitter or Instagram or wherever. It's not way in their realm of creating fake things to drive a personal, drive public opinion. Yeah.
Well, Epic Journeyman and I have caught in bots, and most of the bot accounts, they ask questions. It's like Cambridge Analytica data mining, where the bots just ask questions. And so eventually you're like, okay, well, if this account is asking all of these questions all the time, they can't be a real person, So, I mean, we do have a question, though. Daniel asks, what do you think about Trump's snake poem? I'll give my thoughts first, so you guys give your thoughts, and then we'll be done for this evening. Now Trump claims it's about illegal immigration. I don't believe that to be true. I really believe that Trump is a snake, and he's telling people it's some sort of, what did Blavatsky and Bailey? Revelation of the method. So it's some sort of revelation of the method. And is literally them, Trump saying, I'm a snake. You guys are dumb for thinking that I'm anything but a snake. And you let me in, and I bit you, and you're dying because I'm a snake. And I really think that that's why he keeps reading that godforsaken poem, is because he's telling people who he really is, as a way of kind of like, well, you guys know I'm the snake, but you keep, giving me the adoration, so it's on you, So what do you guys think?
Go ahead, Jack.
I just like quickly Googled it. It sounds exactly like the frog in the scorpion metaphor or adage, whatever, how the scorpion says, can I ride on your back? I promise I won't sting you. And he stings him. He says, well, I'm a scorpion. That sounds like he copied that. But if I was a teacher, I'd say this is very too similar. But I've never heard that. I just read it from now, and how that ties to illegal immigration, I have no idea.
Because you're letting the illegal immigrant into your border, and they're the snake, and they end up shooting and stabbing you and killing you.
There's way better poems you could make for that. Was the point. That's and his supporters won't get that. Come on, they won't understand that.
It's every time he talks about illegal immigration, he reads a snake poem. Every time, man. And I remember even when I supported Trump, when I didn't even know about the CMP yet, and he was reading that poem, I was like, there's something wrong with this poem. Like I was like, this isn't about illegal immigration. What's wrong with this poem? There's something right here, And so I don't, because he's always like, you guys asked for me to read the snake poem, so I'm going to read the snake poem. And it's like, who's asking for you to read the snake poem?
It's one of the weirdest things. Yeah, it's just a bizarre thing. And man, you could take it all sorts of different ways. You could go into he's trying to tell you he's a lizard person, or he's have the Draco bloodline or whatever. You know, I don't know, man. That's it's crazy. And it may be one of those revelation of the method type things. I kind of feel like Gary Wayne says that God won't let these people hide everything from us. You know, there's a restrainer that they can't totally conceal themselves and their motives. And I wonder sometimes if that's not what we see these guys doing, because they definitely can't hide everything. They give us little tips and clues here and there.
Yeah. Okay. So in closing, we got about 10 minutes left to go to bed. Anything else that you guys want to discuss real quick, short lightning round or anything? I'll give it to you both, y'all fine gentlemen. See if there's anything.
Well, you know, the Ukraine thing, I mean, I don't know quite what to make of it, but I read that WikiLeaks, I think they dropped it earlier this morning, and it tells all in there about how NATO disarmed Ukraine with one of their programs where they try to talk these countries into disarming. And they did, for a great part, disarm them back in like 2009. So it's kind of funny now they're arming them, and
dude,
it's just insanity.
Dude, and again, like it's like whenever I talk to you guys, synchronicities happen. But I just read how I think it was after World War I. I don't know if it was League of Nations or one of those banker groups. They convinced Europe to disarm, just like this that you just said about Ukraine. Was it because they cared? Was it because they wanted less violence? They didn't want to repeat. No, it was because they all owned shares of all the war industries, and they wanted to resell them newer ships or newer military, newer tech. It wasn't because they cared. So it's just amazing that you brought that up, Oddman, because I that literally happened in like 1918 or 1920. This big push to let's love each other. No more violence. Sell your musket. And hey, you know what? Why are you selling that with that cash? We got a crazy AK-47 that would be way better. You know, it's just the same goddamn tricks.
No, you're right, Jack. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Okay, so about the Ukraine, I mean, you know, me and my friend Jesse Spots were talking about this, and one of the biggest cons that was ever pushed in front of the truth movement was that Vladimir Putin is a good man. That Russia today is really giving you the truth more than the mainstream media, and you know that they're really out there. You know, Putin's really fighting for the world and fighting for us, and he's not one of them. You know, he's on our side, and I mean, look, anybody watching my channel, anybody, you know, us three gentlemen here, we know good and well that Vladimir Putin is an elitist, you know, Luciferian, just like all the rest of them. All right, there's no hiding it. I mean, as Rasputin is Alexander Dugin. You know, me and S90's done 2 shows on Alexander Dugin before. You know, I mean, it's pretty. I mean, Putin's allied with Chabad Lubavitch. You know, I mean, but then again, you have, you know, NATO and Biden, and they're, you know, it's kind of like I feel bad for the Ukrainian people because they're pawns on a chessboard, and they're going to get taken out. And it doesn't matter who wins in the fight for them. They're like a kid, and there's a divorce going on, and daddy and mommy are arguing over the kid, except sadly the kid is getting severely beaten and hurt, and sadly likely is going to be killed. You know, it's sick. It's sick. You know, so you know, because people will be like, "Well, what, you don't like Putin? What you like Biden?" It's like, no. And oh, you don't like Biden or NATO? Oh, wait, you like Putin? You're allied with the Russians? Well, no. I just don't like war, and I don't think it's our business.
How can you not care about their freedom, dude?
So if
you don't want them to be free?
So if the Ukrainian people got together, okay, and they were like, we don't want Russia. We don't, and if it was legitimate, okay, like we want to have nothing to do with Putin. We want to have nothing to do with Russia. We remember how it was under the USSR. We don't want to have anything to do with them. Then I would be like, okay, maybe we should do something about it, But that's in a perfect world, and none of this is perfect. This is all smoke and mirrors and school plays and stuff, So, what are we supposed to? What are we supposed to do? I mean, like, I look at it and I just shrug my shoulders because what am I supposed to think? There's no winners in this except for the elite. No one wins but the elite. I mean, am I looking at it wrong, you guys? I mean, I kind of just numb to it. And I'm like, well, if World War III happens, and so be it, it happens. Like, what am I? Who do you cheer for? You don't cheer for Biden and NATO. You don't cheer for Putin. You don't cheer for any of them. And the Republicans, the conservatives, want you to rally behind Putin. And Russia's allied itself with China. I mean, Alexander Dugin in his newest book about we got to do the third series so I can read excerpts from that. Russia's allied itself completely with China. So us as Americans, well, what are we supposed to do? Like it's so complicated. Even if a lot of it is a school play, even if a lot of it is, the elites, you kind of like the bet, in trading places, I don't know what when people ask me about Ukraine, I just throw my hands up in the air and I go, what about me saying or getting involved or caring is going to change or do anything? I pray for the Ukrainian people. That's all I can do.
Yeah, man, you're right. Because it's like business as usual. I mean, it's just what the, if you want to call it the military industrial complex or whatever, it's just what they do. They've done it a million times. And they've done it so much that people like us who actually think and study history, we can't trust what they're telling us to be the truth. So who knows what's really going on? The only thing I know is I see a lot of people I don't trust kind of supporting us going in there, like Richard Haas and Wes Clark and, the same old guys who claim to be, like peace advocates 1 minute. And then they're like, oh, it's for the next altercation when a Democrat's in office. So it's
now, Oddman, they're saying peace through strength now. Okay, I saw the liberals who uncloak themselves that are truly neoconservatives come out and say peace through strength, and I was like, well, don't you hate Council for National Policy member and pedophile Ronald Wilson Reagan? Like, don't you hate Ronnie? Like, why are you saying his terminology peace for strength? Why would you ever use that? It doesn't really make any sense. Yeah. And so I agree with you, but at the same time, I would argue, okay, so who don't want us to go in there? Trump, Posobiec, Bannon.
Yeah.
So then, it's like, well, what do you do? You kind of just all I say is God, please bless and look after the Ukrainian people. What else can I say? What else can I do?
Yeah. Dude, and forgive me for not believing this. Like, again, history. Ronald Harriman or whichever one was, giving Soviets money, technology, at the same time coming back, telling them they're building up their infrastructure, guys. We got to build up ours. They're all this. It's just the same playbook. That's why I can't care, because I just don't, like Oddman said, I just don't believe a single thing they say.
War's a racket, Smedley Butler.
Nice.
And Deborah Johnson mentioned in the chat, Putin is the most devout Christian than any other of the world leaders. Go watch the videos that we did on his Rasputin, his main advisor, Alexander Dugin, who's a Crowley Thelemite, and get back to me on that. Putin is not a Christian. None of them are. Donald Trump's not a Christian either. The Catholic Joe Biden is not a Christian. None of them are.
He's a Zionist, remember?
He's a proud Zionist.
Right. You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist.
Yeah, that's true.
Let us know, right?
That's true. That's true.
You remember he even said, if we didn't have Israel, America would have to invent an Israel. So it's like, where does your allegiance lie, buddy?
So now we get a brain dead Biden. We don't even get Biden that can actually think on his feet and have quick wit. Now we just get they track out. The thing is like I don't like Biden obviously, and I don't like what he stands for. Okay, but a part of me does, as much as I despise the man, and he's evil, he's as wicked as the day is long. Okay. But I do kind of feel like a tinge of like sadness for him, because they're literally trotting out a guy who there's no way he's the best actor in the world. Okay, like the moments that he has, there has to be because of the aneurysm that he had decades ago, finally affecting his mental cognition at his age. Okay, they're literally putting a man out there who I really believe in a lot of times he doesn't even know where he is. And, like, I know he's evil and wicked as the day is long, but I'm like, is this some sort of weird humiliation ritual for Biden that's, like, one of the biggest humiliation rituals that ever happened in the history of humiliation rituals that just goes on for, like, years? It's elder abuse at this point. I mean, am I off for having just a real, like, 0.5%, just sadness? It's just sad. It's just sad.
It's like watching a car crash, or like a cringe movie scene. You're like, oh my God, don't do that. And he does it anyway. You're like, oh, I can't believe he just did that.
I vaguely remember being a kid and, those last years of Reagan, the media was really going on about how, he was losing it basically. And I've watched some of those, and I'm not a big Reagan fan by any means, but I watched some of those videos recently, and he wasn't nearly as out there as some of the things I've seen Biden do.
Oh, yeah.
And, it's pitiful, man, because, like you said, Biden was entertaining before. You never knew what was going to come out of his mouth, and he's shown us who he really was back in the day because he couldn't keep his mouth shut. Yeah. So that was great.
Now he literally can't keep his mouth shut, and he literally says whatever comes to his mind because he's suffering from some form of advanced dementia and cognitive problems. And so now when he says stuff, he probably shouldn't say stuff, and I mean, I've listened to him. I know you guys have listened to him and stuff like that and everything. And half the time you can't even understand. At least Trump is mentally. Trump might be like a narcissist and a horrible person and like everything like that, but at least he's like, you can understand. You can understand a lot of what comes out of his mouth. Biden, half the time it sounds like he's slurring a majority of his words, and you can't understand. You can't understand half the stuff that comes out of his mouth, And I'm sitting here and I'm like, this is just like half the time I'm like, what he says makes me mad that I can understand, but other times I'm just like, this is just sad.
John, he has a speech impediment. Stop being such an ableist, dude.
Yeah, Uncle Bourbon said, watching people suffer from dementia is sad, even if the person is a piece of crap. It's pitiful and nobody deserves it. Yeah, it's... especially, I had my great-grandmother died of Alzheimer's disease. It's a bad... dementia and Alzheimer's is a rough way to die. It's a rough way. I don't wish that upon my worst enemy. And as Christians, we're all called to pray for our leaders that, that Biden would come to Christ, that he would repent. But it's just sad. But all right, I don't want to lead on such a down note. So I guess one last thing is, Jack, you got anything? Since Oddman brought up Ukraine, you got anything? You got anything happy? Anything
happy?
Anything at least not so depressing as our country being run by someone who's just not mentally competent?
Dude, the internet's brought a lot of bad things, but it's also brought me so many great things, like you guys and this community. And I am forever that I met like another guy that lives near me So that's my good news, is that I just keep meeting more and more awesome people through doing podcasts and these shows, people that I consider my friends. That's my only good, that's my good news.
I'll take it. All right. Tell Oddman, Jack, tell everybody where they can find you.
Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah. So I am Jack Allen from Conspiracy or Just a Coincidence on podcast. My social medias, you can find, Conspiracy or Just a Coincidence. And if you can subscribe to my YouTube, awesome. Trying to get to John's numbers. It's going to take a while, but I'm a patient man. And that's all I got.
You'll get there one day, Jack, very soon. If YouTube doesn't shadow ban us and block us into
This is true. This is true.
Awesome, man. Thank you guys for hanging out with me once again. And I feel the same, Jack. It's so awesome to have this, this small group of people. And also, man, I was just thinking quickly, as things get crazier and crazier around the world, our group becomes smaller and smaller. The people that are actually telling the truth and willing to look at both sides and point out the bad things of both sides and the good things of both sides. And then us being Christians makes it an even yet smaller group. And so even though all this chaos is happening, it's almost better for us. I hate to say that because of what we do, because we're trying to help people get information out there. So that's one kind of bright spot in the whole thing. But if anybody wants to check out my show, it's theoddmanout.podbean.com. And also I have a Patreon. If anybody wants to help out, it's patreon.com/theoddmanout. And also, if you want to find me on social media, _theoddmanout on Twitter or Instagram.
All right, everybody, that is it. Hopefully I'll have a stream for you guys the next few days, probably next week. Take care, everybody. God bless. Don't fall for the psychological operations and the spiritual warfare that's being propagated on the world right now at an alarming rate. Be kind to your neighbor. Get right with God if you're not. All right, everybody. Take care. God bless.